Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Superintendent Kevin Stewart, Kevan Stuart from the Calgary Police Service. The first part, I'll be responding, giving a briefing in regards to the incident this morning at City Hall. I don't have a lot of questions to any answers, as this investigation is still being conducted, but I'll do the best I can if you do have any questions. So on Friday morning, May 3rd, 2013, at approximately 7:30 in the morning, Calgary Police Service responded to a call of a suspicious package at the old City Hall on 7th Avenue and McLeod Trail Southeast. Calgary Police Service, working closely with the municipal security, building security at Calgary City Hall, worked in conjunction with each other, evacuated the old City Hall, did not evacuate the newer part of the City Hall, the larger part. There were a number of individuals evacuated out of the Calgary Public Library across the street. As a precautionary measure, all vehicle traffic and pedestrian traffic was stopped on 7th Avenue. The C train did run through 7th Avenue. However, the two platforms on either side of 7th Avenue at City Hall were closed. The CPS tactical team arrived in the area at the scene, x-rayed and physically examined the suspicious package. It was determined to be just a backpack containing clothing and personal items. The incident was resolved before noon hour, and full operations of the downtown C train platform and the sidewalks were resumed. And that is basically it. That's all the information I have for that. If there's any questions, I'll take those.
Who was it that made you guys aware of the backpack or the duffel bag?
I'm not exactly sure, but I believe it was a citizen in the area that just found that activity suspicious and contacted the Calgary Police Service, and that's how that began.
How did the evacuation of Old City Hall proceed? Because we've heard from some people who were working inside that they called security and were told that we're not being evacuated.
Again, these are incidents that there's no one call that's like the other. These are very individual calls. They evolve minute by minute, and at the time of the event, it was determined that for precautionary purposes, the only part of the City Hall that needed to be evacuated would have been the old part. And as the information was coming to the Calgary Police Service and the investigators at the time, that it was determined that the rest of the City Hall could resume normal activity unless something further developed.
Have you been able to track down the person who the bag belongs to?
At this point in time, the Calgary Police Service have not located that individual, but are in the process of identifying who that person is and locating that person.
Is that person on
Sense
video?
of how the evacuation took place, because we've heard concerns about that it wasn't done properly or that they weren't actually evacuated from Old City Hall.
It's my understanding they were evacuated from Old City Hall. Is that your question, or?
Yeah, there are some concerns with how staff there were alerted, and some staff didn't think they'd even been evacuated from the building. They just left at their own free will.
Well, you know, when we finish these types of calls, we debrief all these activities to determine things such as that. So right now I can't speak to that. I can say that whenever we have a call like this, we debrief it to find out if there were any concerns and how we can better address those concerns as lessons learned moving forward. So.
Do you have the individual on surveillance?
That's part of our investigation, and I haven't spoken to the investigators to determine that. So.
Why were the C trains halted in the earlier incident at the Court Center? And
Well, again,
not here?
and this will get into my second part of the conference here. Every one of these calls, they're not exactly the same. They're all very different. They all have their own dynamics. They all have their own information. They all have their own security risks and public safety concerns. So in this incident, it was determined that the trains could go through. However, for logistical reasons, we'll shut down the platforms just to avoid that big, large mass of people. But our primary concern in all of these, and I'll repeat it again later on the second part of this, is public safety. That is our main concern. The logistics of people and products through the City of Calgary is also a major concern of ours. However, the public safety, the safety of the citizens, the safety of our officers, as well as protecting property are our main concerns. So every incident is going to be different. It's not going to be the same, but I can address that further in the second part of this. Okay. So again, my name is Kevin Stewart, Superintendent of the Calgary Police Service. This is Inspector Blair White, Section Commander of the Support Section, which includes TAC, Canine, and Mounted Patrol. And first of all, I'll say that I'll start out, and then I'll let Blair speak in regards to incidents in regards to the TAC team. But the Calgary Police Service take all suspicious package calls seriously. It takes time to determine what is going on, what are in these packages, and it takes time to determine what resources are required in order for us to safely conclude these events. Public safety is always our first concern. We understand that it can be inconvenient. We understand that it can create chaos in areas, but we try to keep the inconvenience down to a minimum. However, maximizing the safety of the officers, the citizens, as well as the property involved. Whenever we are involved in these incidents, we're measured, we're balanced, and apply an appropriate response to the event. These situations are continually evolving once they start. No two calls are the same. They're all very different. And we evaluate these calls on a minute-to-minute basis, and sometimes it remains static, and sometimes they're very dynamic and they change very, very quickly, and we have to change our tactics in regards to how those changes come about. The Calgary Police Service, we routinely train for the unexpected. We train for these kinds of calls. We train with our municipal partners, our provincial partners, and our federal partners in regards to their infrastructure. We train with private businesses within the city of Calgary, such as malls and other buildings. And we work very closely with those security folks in those areas. The CPS have been involved in many of these calls that don't even make the public press. In 2012, the TAC team responded to 45 of these events throughout the city of Calgary. So about one a week, or a little less than one a week. So on average, in the last 4 years, it does average to be exactly one a week. So these calls, we take these very serious. We encourage people, if they see something that's suspicious or something out of the ordinary, to continue to call us, and we will respond and give an appropriate response. Blair? Blair?
That's correct. Suspicious package calls. We average in the last 3 years, it's roughly 50 a year, give or take. So about one a week.
I understand there was also something similar in Edmonton this morning. Are you guys being extra cautious because of the Boston?
I can answer that. You know, what happened in Boston a couple of weeks ago was tragic, and it was a very significant event. We examine and review those cases to have lessons learned, and we're very because it's so fresh in our minds. We're very cognizant of the fact that what happened there, as what happens around the world on a regular basis. We study those events as well to see what we can learn about those events, anything that happens throughout the world. Again, Boston was recent, it was tragic, and it's still fresh in everybody's minds. And whenever we get one of these calls, we're very cognizant of the recent activities that have gone on in North America and throughout the world.
Do you think it all, you mentioned that police services is obviously more cognizant of that fact. Do you think the public's maybe a little more keeping a close eye on what their surroundings are?
You know what, I think the public is probably, for the most part, more cognizant of what's going on around them, and we encourage people to call us if they see something that isn't right. And I think that there's probably is a bit more vigilance in regards to citizens and their surroundings.
Do CPS and City Hall's corporate security have a plan in place for things like evacuations? And is there something specific laid out?
There is, again, with our partners, our municipal partners, provincial and federal partners, as well as our private industry partners, we have plans for such events such as these. We work regularly. We just had a training exercise not too long ago, and we're continually communicating about such events.
And can you comment on, did this morning play out as your drills and practices ahead of time?
Again, we'll debrief this once it's finished, but right now I'd have to say we're quite satisfied with the way things occurred.
This question is for Inspector White. Just take us through the TACT procedure. This morning, we were told that something was thrown on the bag, and then the TACT team walked away and then dealt with it again. What happened? Take us through that.
Yeah, again, the specific tactics that we use for the safety of the officers that utilize those tactics, we're not going to discuss that. What they did this morning was they x-rayed the device or the package, and that gives us the latitude of looking inside and determining if there is anything suspicious. If there isn't, then just like the evolution of any call, the threat level can decrease or it can increase. So in this instance, there were 2 x-rays taken, and the explosive technicians that were interpreting the x-rays determined that there was nothing in there that caused them any concern, and they manually approached without a bomb suit, and they removed the bag from where it was, and they opened it up to authenticate and confirm what was in it.
Can you tell us, is it a mobile x-ray machine, or what is it? I don't know if I've ever seen this thing.
There's multiple ways of deploying x-rays. So we can deploy it robotically, we can physically deploy it, and it can be small x-rays, it can be large x-rays, so it just depends. Sorry?
In this case, would Jeff get very close to it, or?
Yes. Yeah. There isn't any intimate contact with the package because just like the citizens, when we go there, it's based on current intelligence. It's based on the information that we have. Somebody felt it was suspicious. We deem it suspicious until we can deem it otherwise. So moving the package prior to any type of investigation, it just isn't prudent. So the x-ray is taken as least intrusive as possible.
Can you see whether there was anything illegal found in the bag, like drugs?
To my knowledge, there was nothing of concern to the police.
The individual that dropped the bag facing any sort of questions, or?
Again, that's going to be part of the investigation. As far as I know, they've yet to locate the individual, so it just depends on the results of the investigation.
Given the nature of the calls that you've had over the past couple of days, in your opinion, can you tell us, are you adequately equipped in terms of technology to deal with these situations?
Absolutely. Our bomb technicians, police explosive technicians, are very well trained. They all are trained consistently through the Canadian Police College, so that they can train anywhere or deploy anywhere throughout Canada in the same common manner. And we're very proud of the standard that they have, and we definitely have the equipment that's going to protect the city.
Was there any, I don't want to call it a ramp up, for lack of a better term, but was there a ramp up in that training given after Boston and after different events around the world to, just to be cognizant of the fact that the public's going to be going to have heightened awareness, so obviously you guys might end up having a few more calls than maybe you normally would?
No. Our training, our deployments, we believe that this will happen every day. We train for that. That's what they're prepared for.
But there was no operation like this like last year. There was nothing like this that happened, right?
No, our police technicians were deployed roughly 50 times last year for suspicious packages as well.
Did you consult the bomb experts that you have
Ab-
or damage to people.
Absolutely, and that's what Superintendent Stewart was alluding to. We keep tuned in through our partners federally to monitor world events, not just North America events. Are there common trends? Are there common devices? Are there common packages? Are there common systems of deployment? Common targets, and that's what we gear our training and preparation toward.
Are any of the suspicious packages over the last little while, whether it's at the UFA building or the one downtown this week, are any of them linked to each other?
Again, that's the part of the investigation, and to my knowledge, they're not at this point.